Welcome back to Out of the Park Baseball 22 with the Detroit Tigers. It is Sunday, August 1st, 2021, the day after the trade deadline, and I gotta get comfortable in my chair, so apologize for the squeakiness. Day after the trade deadline, and we were busy. Before we get into this, though, I just want to say thank you. I reached 100 subscribers, which for me is a big deal in the world of YouTube. It's a minuscule, minor nothing, but I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I appreciate it. So trade deadline. Yeah, we were busy. You can potentially see some of the names that are on here just based on our team roster. But let's jump right in, shall we? So let's look at the major transaction logs. So we'll go back to June. I don't think, because we were still playing the game here in June. So let's start in July. Let's go down to the beginning of the month. So on the 13th, we traded Heimer Candelario, Alex Faedo, and 24-year-old minor league outfielder Daniel Reyes to the Orioles, getting Zach Pop and Zach. I just realized they both had the same first name, and Zach Lothar. So Candelario was our starting third baseman. He was due a bump in arbitration of, I don't remember what it was. It was up to, $5 or $6 million or something like that. And he was one of our few solid offensive players this year, or, generally speaking in terms of his ratings. But you can see he wasn't very good. 658 OPS, 73 OPS plus, 297 on-base percentage. So we moved on from Candelario, as well as Alex Faedo, who at one time was a big-time prospect for the Tigers, but has the shine has kind of come off of him a little bit. He was 6-7 with a 3.90 ERA in AA as a 25-year-old. And then Daniel Reyes, just a 1.5 star, 24-year-old playing an A-ball who potentially has a little bit of pop. And in return, we get Zach Pop and Zach Lothar. So we'll start with Lothar. He's in the starting rotation. You can see for us so far, 3 games, 1-1, 4.08 ERA. Does not throw the ball very hard, but has 3 really good pitches, good stamina. Right now he's a number 3, number 4 starter for us. Down the road, he could end up being a bullpen piece if some of our young players pan out, and if they don't, he's a serviceable arm. I'll take him. But the main reason for this deal was Zach Pop, and Pop immediately becomes one of the best bullpen arms we have. You can see he's an extreme ground ball pitcher, which is fantastic, who can bring it in the upper 90s, sinker, slider, changeup pitcher, good stuff, good movement, passable control. And we're going to lean heavily on him. So I think we improved the bullpen here, making this deal. Pop and Lothar immediately become 2 of the best pitchers on our roster. The next deal we made was with the Chicago White Sox, of all teams. Detroit and Chicago making a deadline deal. We sent Robbie Grossman, Matthew Boyd, and Nick Ames to the White Sox, getting Jimmy Lambert, Mick Rodolfo, and Matt Foster in return. So Robbie Grossman was signed to a 2-year, $10 million deal. Had been hitting okay. 764 OPS, 11 home runs. League average OPS plus, 1.4 WAR. Been playing okay defense. Struggled a little bit with the White Sox, but he wasn't in our long-term plans, and he's 31 years old. So moved on from him. Moved on from Boyd because we didn't want to pay him $7.5 million in arbitration. He wasn't very good for us. He hasn't been good for us for a couple of years. ERA plus of 89, BABIP of 317. 1.44 whip, not very good. He's been good for the White Sox in 2 starts, but not $7.5 million good for us. And then Nick Ames, again, a 24-year-old lottery pick or lottery ticket, if you will. I got to get my drink. First base prospect, 24 years old, in A-ball. So we moved on from them. And in return, we picked up Jimmy Lambert. Similar to Lothar in that... his stuff is better, 93 to 95. He's only 26, still making the league minimum, 4 really good pitches and good stamina. Had been pitching in AAA, so in the rotation with us, got 1 start so far. Matt Foster, another good bullpen arm, 94 to 96, 3 good pitches. Yeah, so, I'm part of this. I'm finding that I don't want to say it's easy, but it's easier to trade for bullpen pieces than it is anything else. And, getting a cheap, good bullpen is one of those keys to success. So picked up Matt Foster as well. And then Micker Adolfo never really pans out in out of the park baseball. I'm hoping that this year is different. His power is jacked up this year compared to previous seasons. Pretty good defensive outfielder, good arm out and right. But if that power can develop, you can see he's hitting really well in Toledo right now in limited playing time. But if that power can develop, he will be a good piece for us. All right, let's try that again. So Micker Adolfo, yeah, if the power can develop, he's, like I said, he's never worked out in out of the park baseball for me. But maybe this year will be different. Our scout likes him. OSA likes him even more. So, maybe he's somewhere in the middle. And if that's the case, great. So that's the second deal there. Grossman, Boyd, Ames for Lambert, Adolfo, and Foster. We traded Wenzel Perez, a 21-year-old, 1.5-star, 2-star shortstop. Good range, good speed. I mean, he could be a decent get there for 23-year-old Dominic Fletcher, corner outfielder with some pop. OSA likes him a little bit more. So again, if he falls somewhere in between, or maybe he's even a little bit better than that, I don't know. But just a minor deal to pick up some power in the minor leagues. And then we made a couple other deals. You can see here we traded Jonathan Scope to the Cincinnati Reds in exchange for Amir Garrett. I love Amir Garrett in real life. I think he's got the right mentality for a closer. This one could come back to burn me just because I was looking at the arbitration numbers and he's due to make like $7 million in arbitration. So we very well could end up not DFAing him, but not offering him a contract in arbitration and losing him for nothing. We'll just sort of see. But you can see just having an amazing season. 14 hits in 43 innings for the Reds this season. He's now a member of our bullpen. And then the last deal, and this one was a little bit harder, but Ali Sanchez has always been one of my favorite players in out of the park baseball. Just such an elite defensive catcher. Decent enough bat to carry. The glove carries the bat really here. And we traded Wilson Ramos, Daniel Norris, and a 19-year-old 2.5-star Jose De La Cruz. Looks like a decent outfielder, but Sanchez, I think, is probably more important. Ramos had been hitting lights out. He was hitting .391 on the season, but his contract was up at the end of this year. We likely weren't going to re-sign him, so trade him while the value's high. And then Daniel Norris, just get out from underneath. Again, another contract that was probably going to expire. It was going to expire at the end of the year, and then we weren't going to re-sign him. So yeah, lots of trades at the trade deadline. So that puts us, we are 41-67. We are in last place. The lineup looks quite a bit different now. We called up Isaac Paredes. Torkelson's still in AAA, as is Matt Manning. They're both hurt right now, so that's just great. They'll both be up next season. But Castro, Paredes, Nunez, Mazzara, Cabrera, Reyes, Christian Stewart, who we called up from AAA, Ali Sanchez, and then Harold Castro, who we called up from AAA as well. He's sort of been on the shuttle back and forth. Lambert, Turnbull, Mize, Skubal, Lothar. It's got Foster as the closer. Yeah, our bullpen's gotten a whole lot better now with Foster, Vest, Garrett, and Zach Pop. Again, I don't know how long Garrett will be with us, but we'll enjoy him while he's here, I guess. If we take a look at wars for our batters, it's now really Victor Reyes and a whole lot of garbage. Reyes is doing okay. 316, 770 OPS. And that's, yeah, I mean, there's really nothing else here to look at. I mean, Willie Castro's got a 735 OPS. Renato Nunez 712. It's just bad. So I just kind of want to get through this first season. Pitching wise, don't look at Garrett's 2.4 WAR because that's all with another team. Casey Mize, the ERA is coming down a little bit. It's down to 6.22. Skubал's at 5.12. He's pitching right at about his FIP, so this is a pretty accurate representation. So that's gonna be it. Oops, sorry, I'm making a ton of noise. A ton of background noise. I apologize for that. So, not the most high tech setup here. It's literally my Blue Yeti, my laptop, and my chair at my desk. So, I don't really have a recording setup as it were. So that's our team. That's where we are. I mean, there's not a whole hell of a lot else to look at. We've got some money for free agents that we're not going to spend, no money for extensions, and it's all going to come down to Cabrera and what he chooses to do. If he retires, we have money. If he doesn't retire, we're kind of screwed. So you can see we jump up to $81 million next year, and that's in part because of Clevenger and Amir Garrett. Some of these other contracts, like we're not going to pay Michael Fulmer $4 million, so he's going to be gone next year. We're probably not going to pay Clevenger. We're probably going to move him as soon as the season ends. He'll probably never throw a pitch for us. Garrett, we're not going to pay him $7 million, so either that demand comes down or we move him. And then Victor Reyes, I don't know. I don't know that paying him $4 million. I mean, he's a good defensive. I mean, he's like the perfect backup, right? He can hit well enough. He's a great defensive outfielder, and he's got some speed. But for our team, paying that $4 million, I don't know if that's worth it. So, so that's the trade deadline. I'm gonna go ahead now and sim ahead. I think we might do. Are we going to really do the off season here? We might. So I'm going to sim ahead now to the end of the regular season, and we'll see where it stands, and we'll come back, and it'll be the end of the year, and we'll do a recap, and we'll go from there. So I'll be right back. All right, we're back. It's the end of season number 1, and it went about as bad as you could have anticipated. 59 and 103. We finished last. Finished with the worst record in baseball, which from a draft perspective next year is going to be a good thing. We finished with the worst record in the game. Let's take a look at how things panned out, and then we'll move forward with the regular season. So Victor Reyes had a pretty good year, 2.5 WAR, an 89 OPS plus. Jake Rogers came in midway through the season and did pretty well, hit the ball well, which we like to see. Ali Sanchez came in, hit the ball really well, 312, 805 OPS. So that's encouraging, especially from somebody who's known for his glove instead of his bat. We brought Micker Adolfo up at the roster expansion and 1 home run, 475 slugging in 40 at bats, 6 doubles. So that's nice to see. Isaac Paredes struggled in his first extended time. I guess he played a little bit last year, but struggled as well there. Miggy, just an awful season. I hope he retires. If he doesn't, we're in trouble. Willie Castro, 20 home runs. Renato Nunez, 25. So, they're bats that can be useful in a lineup, but I don't know if they are, as soon as they start costing more, that's when you start to move on from players like that. And otherwise, it was just a nondescript season from pretty much everybody. Pitching-wise, wasn't much better. Amir Garrett was okay with us. Wasn't obviously as good as he was with Cincinnati, but he was still okay. 2.63 ERA, 10.5 strikeouts in 27 innings. Matt Foster as the closer was just all right. Put up a 5.4 ERA with us. Saved, had 10 saves. We had some, Trig Skubal was okay. 4.82 ERA, struck out 177 in 168 games. Casey Mize got that ERA down to 6.06 with a 4.68 FIP. So again, I think ultimately he pitched better than his numbers indicate. Hope for a bounce back season next year. Zach Lothar came over and wasn't very good. Jimmy Lambert came over and was okay, I guess. I mean, the ERA is just terrible, but again, a FIP of 4. I mean, he had .4 WAR and an ERA of 7.19. So that tells me that he got. I mean, his BABIP was 364. I mean, that tells me that he just got a little unlucky. So we've got really good defensive catchers. So now what we need to do is work on that defense, and until we can start to bring up some people, some really skilled bats, we need to work on the defense and just make sure that we are locked down defensively. And we're really not. I mean, Adolfo could potentially be pretty good. Victor Reyes is decent in center field. So we need some better defense as well to go along with our pitching, and I think that will help us even if the offense isn't what it should be. So yeah, we finished last. So we're going to go ahead now and actually let's look at some of the prospects. So Torkelson, his first full season, 308, 918 OPS in AAA. He'll obviously be up next year. Matt Manning is still hurt, but he was 3-2 in 7 starts. He'll likely be up next year as well. Riley Green seems to have leveled off a little bit, which is concerning. He didn't hit the ball in AA, so he'll probably stay there next season. Let's look at our draft picks from this year. Where are they? Are they here? Yep, so Marcelo Meyer, 233 in rookie ball last year. He'll start in A-ball next year. 754 OPS. He had OPS plus of 151, so he was fine. Average was a little low, but he hit for power, hit for contact, or hit for had some extra base power, played good defense, so he'll likely end up here. And I don't want to make all these moves now. I'll make them as we go forward. But I think Braylon Bishop was our supplemental pick. He didn't play much, so he will probably start the season in fact, let's do this so that they force start him in center field next year in rookie ball. Grossman didn't pitch much. Allen was our number 3 pick. He played. He did okay. He'll probably move up as well. His ratings are developing. So some of our prospects did okay. Josh Baez, who was our 8th round pick, has already dropped to a 2-star. So we're going to go ahead and enable that. Braden Montgomery was a 2nd round pick. And I mean, the power is still there, and he's still a good defensive outfielder. So we will. I enable. Yeah, see, a lot of these guys have dropped already. So and this is, as soon as somebody drops below 2.5 star, I immediately switch on AI. Enable promotion demotion. I don't get that involved in players that are under 2. If they're 2.5 star and over, I'll consider taking control of their development. So yeah, so that's where we stand. So let's move ahead to the end of the regular season. So I'll be right back. All right, so the season ends with I think the Yankees won it all. Let's take a look. Playoffs, tree. My computer got really loud all of a sudden. The fan just turned on. Yeah, the Yankees beat the Cincinnati Reds in the World Series. Interesting playoffs, at least in the National League. American League, it's Houston, New York, Boston. I mean, they're always in it. But in the National League, you had the Mets, the Padres, the Reds made the World Series. So who did we trade over there? Jonathan Scope? How'd he do? Wow, he had almost 400 for Cincinnati down the stretch. So that deal worked out for them. All right. So our score was 59. That wasn't very good. Miguel Cabrera retired. Thank heavens, so that comes off of our books. We have a new budget, team payroll of about $70 million. They want us to upgrade at second base and require a Gold Glove winner. That's what I would like to do. I don't know how much of that stuff we're going to be able to do, but we'll try. KBO. Anybody we're interested in looking at? Not really. Torkelson is now the number 2 prospect in baseball. Manning is number 9. All right, so let's look at salary arbitration. Mazzara and Urena are free agents. We're not going to offer either of them. Let's look at minor league free agents first. Anybody we want to bring back? Drew Ward, potentially. Oops. I mean, most of these guys are terrible, but if you can find someone who's got some depth, it can help you in a pinch. But if we're ever depending on any of these people, that's going to be a huge problem. So, all right. So arbitration. So Michael Fulmer. Let's just, because I'm not paying him. I'm either gonna trade him or I'm gonna non-tender him. So let's see what happens. So Stephen Piscotty or Will Myers, I'm not interested in either of them. Let's see if we can get a prospect. Nothing. What about a veteran? Because you never know. I mean, you can get a cheap veteran who might be... Yep, nothing. All right, so Fulmer is going to get non-tendered. So let's look at the people that we actually want to bring back. I'm not going to bring back Nico Goodrum because that's Torkelson's position. So let's see what we can do there. Yeah, it's the same garbage. What if we added Amir Garrett? Because, I don't want to just non-tender everybody, but I will. Castellanos. Yeah, it looks like we're going to end up non-tendering all these guys. So we're going to non-tender Goodrum. Victor Reyes at 1.5 is a deal. And one of the things I like to do is I always like to offer contracts rather than letting them go to arbitration. Because if they're popular, you get a bump to your fan interest, which is always a good thing. So, yeah, I would tell you when you go to arbitration, if there's somebody you want to sign, always try to sign them to a contract. You can typically sign them to a contract that's a little bit less than this, which will fall somewhere in between what they're asking for and what the team's offering. So he's at 1.6, so we'll offer him 1.6. I think that's a decent deal for him. Cisnero, 32-year-old. He wants $1 million. I'm good there. Buck Farmer. He's a 2-star. No, I'm good there. Spencer Turnbull only wants $900, so we'll offer him. Yeah, and we have a little bit of money to spend, but we're gonna do it smartly, So we'll Grenier, we'll cut him. Joe Jimenez, he was pretty good for us last year, but Garrett wants 5.7. That's so much money. So if we sign him, I have to think that we can get him for less than that on the free agency market. So we're going to let him go. And then Joe Jimenez we'll bring back because at 1.7, that's not going to be a terrible... Oops, that's $17 million. So those aren't bad deals. So we ended up cutting non-tendering almost everybody. And we'll plug and play with some cheaper players down the road. So... let's look at a waiver wire. Alex Jackson. he's disruptive. If he wasn't disruptive, I would sign him. He's got some power. He's a good defensive catcher. But I'm not interested in a disruptive force on our team. There are some decent pitchers. Matt Cantorino. Sam Delaplane. He's a good reliever, fly ball pitcher. Joey Cantillo, a 21-year-old. Ceiling of a number 4 or 5 starter. Yadier Alvarez with the Dodgers. Man, if that control was just a little bit better, like if that control was in the 20s, you could see with the stuff and the movement him working out, but that control is just so bad. Zach Birdie. See, and this is the other reason I don't want to pay. $6 million for Amir Garrett. I mean, there are relievers that are, I don't want to say almost as good, but how much different is Delaplane from Garrett? Really, I think we're gonna claim a couple of these guys. Take a 21-year-old from Cleveland, sure. Gerson Batista, will claim him. I mean, if we can claim those 4 players and add those 4 players to our bullpen along with the other stuff we're going to have, I mean, sure, why not? All right, so let's sim ahead to, I want to do this first. That's not where I wanted to go. I wanted to go here. No, I wanted to go here. So let's look at news from your league and organization because I want to see the award winners. So let's sim ahead. Cool, so we claimed all 4 of them. Busy day for Detroit on the waiver wire. Bautista, Delaplane, Cantorillo, and Cantillo. Stick them all there. Let's continue to sim ahead. So we signed Turnbull, signed Nunez, signed Jimenez. We didn't get any bumps in fan interest, but it's worth the effort. Trade proposal from Miami, Adam Duvall. Good power bat. Making more than I'd like to pay. I mean, we'd look like idiots if we accepted this offer. All right, good to know. Let's keep going. So I don't know if I'm going to have time to get through the entirety of the off season here. I have about another hour or so before I gotta shut down and go handle some other things. So I'll play as far as I can, and if I have to come back later today to finish recording, I will. So I'm not anticipating. It's Friday right now. It's Friday afternoon. I don't know that I'm going to be able to get this. I'm not going to get this video out today anyway. This is probably going to be a Saturday or Monday release, depending on what I have to do tomorrow. So we'll see. All right, so Drew Ward. Okay, so anybody here that is interesting? Not particularly. AL Gold Gloves, we got nothing. AL Reliever of the Year, Aroldis Chapman. AL Platinum Stick, we're not going to have anybody here either. AL Rookie of the Year, Bobby Dalbec, 20 home runs for the Red Sox. I thought we might get somebody here, but nope. Justin Williams wins Rookie of the Year for St. Louis. Aaron Boone, Manager of the Year in the AL. Luis Rojas in the NL. AL Cy Young goes to Giolito. NL Cy Young. Taijuan Walker, really, 17-3 with a 2.50 ERA. Good for him. AL MVP. Byron Buxton wins the AL MVP over Josh Donaldson and Rafael Devers. The National League, Francisco Lindor, his first season with the Mets, wins the NL MVP. And we have some money. We're not going to have Lindor money, but I think we have about $20 million, give or take. Probably a little bit more than that with the contracts that we non-tendered. So we may have $30 million-ish to spend, and you don't want to spend it all in one place, as they say. Although picking up a Francisco Lindor would be quite the steal for the Detroit Tigers here in offseason number 1. All right, so international free agents. Anybody any good? Nothing. Of course not. Available free agents: Conforto, Lindor, Wood, Greinke, Iglesias, Lynn, Bauer, Javi Baez, Chris Bryant, Max Scherzer. Okay. So let's take a look and let's see where we stand. So really the only position I would say we don't need is right field, right? Because we've got, in fact, let's just do this now. Let's call him up. Joey Wentz has got to go on the 40-man, but we're not going to call him up yet. So if we look at our lineup, so we're set at catcher with Rogers and Sanchez. And we're set in right field, left field with Torkelson. We're going to put him in left. And we could put Adolfo, I guess, in right. Yeah, so it's going to be like this. Kristen Stewart can go pound sand. So we definitely need at least 2 bats. We need a designated hitter. Or an outfielder. Well, we need an outfielder either. So we need a backup infielder, backup outfielder, another bat. And I think we're going to leave pitching alone for the most part. And we're going to run with Mize, Manning, Scuba. I think we're going to run with this, with what we picked up. I don't want to spend a ton of money on our pitching staff. But we'll see if we can potentially land something that's not going to cost a fortune. I won't spend money on relievers. I don't think it's necessary. You can get a good deal like Kirby Yates at 3.8. It's a really solid deal. But let's go down and let's see what old friend Amir Garrett is looking for. Where is Amir Garrett? Right there. Yeah, see, now he's asking for 4.4, so he's asking for even less now. Well, let's look at batters because that's really what we're focusing on here. And a comp pick or not comp pick doesn't really matter. We're not going to lose our first-round pick because we have the top pick in the draft. Carlos Correa is only asking for $13 million. Or do we go so Simmons? These are all comp picks, man. Roberto Ramos from, I think that's our bat right there. Roberto Ramos, 26-year-old. It's off from 3 years at about $5 million. Sure. All right. So that could be our quote-unquote bat that we're looking for. We don't need a catcher. Travis Starr, no. Again, we don't need a catcher. We aren't going to give up a comp pick. So and we may give up a third. I think is what it'll end up being if we do end up signing somebody. And I'm okay giving up a third-round pick if the deal's right. Jesus Aguilar, he's okay, but that's what we're looking for right now. Is okay. We don't need elite talent. Eventually we need elite talent, but not right this second. We do need backup infielder and then a backup outfielder. So ideally we find someone who can play multiple. Like I would love Marwin Gonzalez, but not for $10 million a year. Get out of here with that. And I'm not going to make you guys sit here and watch me do this, so I'm just sort of flipping through to see if anything stands out, and then Kevin Pillar might not be a bad move for a backup outfielder. Eddie Rosario can hit, but he can only play left. Ramiel Tapia. He's got good contact. He can only play left. I think that's our backup outfielder right there, Michael Taylor. So we need a backup infielder too. All right, so I'm going to mess around here a little bit, and I'll come back at the, I guess, at the Rule 5. So, yeah, hang tight. I'll be back in just a couple minutes. All right, it is Rule 5 draft time, and we were busy in an unexpected way. You can see if we look at, let's look at the offseason center and let's look at the free agents. So none of our contract offers have been accepted yet. We have that 3-year, $15 million deal out to Roberto Ramos, who will be kind of that DH for us, hit really well in the KBO last season. We also have the deal out for Michael Taylor. If Taylor signs this, he's going to end up being our 5th outfielder. And the reason I say that, actually, we'll show you. We also offered a contract to Jimmy Nelson. We offered him a 2-year, $20 million contract, $10 million a year. The second year is a team option. Just adds some depth, and if a potential trade chip towards the trade deadline, if as I anticipate, we are completely out of it. But we made a pretty substantial trade, and it was unexpected. You remember that we had Mike Clevenger as a member of our pitching staff. Well, I don't want to say I'd forgotten about him, but out of sight, out of mind. I was reminded that we had to move him to the 40-man roster because he can't be on the DL during the offseason. So we offered him up for a trade, and we got a trade proposal from a division rival, the Minnesota Twins. And we actually made 2 deals with the Twins here, so we'll kind of just we'll just sort of say that this was one trade, one large trade. So we made one big deal with the Minnesota Twins, and we'll start with the second half of it. Actually, let's do it this way. And you'll see them both when they pop up here. So first deal, actually, we'll look at this one first. So we traded Gregory Soto, who 26-year-old bullpen arm, great stuff, 3 really good pitches, and was pretty bad for us last year, but the potential is there. Gregory Soto and a minor leaguer, Jose Appleton, just a nothing. It's what they wanted to complete it in exchange for Nick Gordon. And I'm skipping through this stuff quickly because I'm hoping you didn't see the other deal. In exchange for Nick Gordon, who's going to become that backup infielder that we were looking for. So he could potentially start at second base too, if we need him to. Hit 275 last year. Doesn't have a great bat, but good glove, good speed, good defense, and people like him. The big portion of this deal, however, was, you can see here, Mike Clevenger to the Minnesota Twins, getting the reigning American League MVP, Byron Buxton, in return. Now, this could be Clevenger for 1 year of Buxton. Buxton last season, 318, 30 home runs, 97 RBIs, 30 stolen bases, 7.2 WAR. Best defensive center fielder in the game. He is signed to he's got 3 years left on his contract, $14.7 million this year, and then he's got an opt-out, and then 2 years at 21. So it's entirely possible that we only get Buxton for 1 year. And again, Buxton is one of those players that we could potentially move at the end of the season. My guess is that he opts out because he can probably make more than that $20 million in free agency next season. But if we're playing well, we can hang on to him. If we're not playing well, we can move him. So we pick up the reigning American League most valuable player in exchange for Mike Clevenger, who never threw a pitch for us. So we turned history. We turned Jacoby Jones. Now that's what I call GMing right there. We turned Jacoby Jones into Byron Buxton. So good for us. So that was those were the deals that we made. So our lineup all of a sudden has a little bit more pop in it with Torkelson and Buxton, a 30-30 guy. And we're still waiting on, like I said, those free agents. So it's time for the Rule 5. So let's make sure there's nobody here that we want to stick on the 40-man. I don't believe there is. Hess will move up because he's 24. I don't think there's anybody here. Nope. All right, so let's get to the Rule 5. I think we're going to have the first pick in the Rule 5, yeah. So is there anybody that interests us? So let's look at pitchers first. Not really. I mean, he's okay, but we have no need for him. Actually, I think he's in my minor league system. So let's put him on the 40-man so we can get him right off this list. No starters of any consequence. Nope, so let's look at batters. And see if we can find maybe some pop. Well, shirt and apostle, I like him. Or I should say I liked him in Out of the Park 21. I don't know how he's transferred in Out of the Park 22. Although he looks like he played pretty well in AA last year. Yu Chang from the Indians. Can't hit, but can play multiple positions. Freudis Nova. We could plug him in at third base. He can't really field, but he's got some speed, has a decent bat. DJ Peters, if he wasn't 26, I would consider him. Oh, there's not much here. It's a bit of a surprise. Who do we have at third base right now? Paredes, yeah. Except he's not a very good third baseman. He's only 22. I mean, our lineup is still not going to be... Our outfield isn't bad, especially if we bring in Taylor. We'll have Torkelson, Buxton, Reyes, Adolfo, and Taylor. So that's fine as far as an outfield goes. But our infield is really bad. Christopher Morel. He's pretty good defensively. Khalil Lee, Logan Morrison, really. Simon Muzziotti. I don't need an outfielder. I think I'm going to pass. There isn't anything here that just knocks my socks off. Kevin Pat, he's 25 though, so I mean he really is what he is at this point. Yeah, I'm not gonna take anybody. So let's complete the draft, which is surprising. Usually in year one of a rebuild, the Rule 5 is sort of a hot spot. We lost Zach Short. Okay, well, we could have used him, but my fault. So, all right. So that's the Rule 5. So now I guess I'm gonna sim ahead till opening to opening day. Or I guess the beginning of spring training. So we'll be back when that happens. It is Thursday, March 3rd, 2022, the start of free agency, and things got a little crazy in between the Rule 5 and now. Some would say that maybe I went a little overboard, but we had the money to spend. It generated a bunch of interest. You can see our revenue per game has skyrocketed. And if the players pan out as their history indicates it might, they'll be good signings. If they don't, none of them are long-term, and none of them will hurt us. Worst case scenario, I guess best case scenario, they perform well, we make the playoffs. The second best scenario is they perform well and we don't make the playoffs and we can move them at the trade deadline. So a lot has happened. Excuse me, it's still early, so I'm still working out those morning glitches from my throat. Have some coffee, and let's look at what has happened since we last spoke. So let's go back to... oops, I didn't want to go back that far. Here. All right, so we talked about the Clevenger and Buxton deals. We signed Roberto Ramos to a 3-year, $15 million contract. He was the power hitting first baseman / DH, so he'll add some pop. He had been in the KBO, and prior to that, it looks like he was in the Dodgers organization. We signed Michael Taylor to a 1-year contract. He's going to be our 4th or 5th outfielder. He's probably not going to like that very much, but that's what happens when you land Buxton, frankly. So if we go to January, we fired our scout. He was... and the game just crashed. Sorry about that. The game crashed. So we were looking at the transactions logs. We were in January. So we fired we fired Brian Bridges, who was an okay scout. Really good at amateurs, decent, good at minor leagues, and then decent at majors and international. And we brought in Mark Grant, who is awesome. So get a little bit more accurate scouting out of Mark Grant. We fired our hitting coach, and we signed Joey DeMonte, who is a contact style hitting coach. Great relationships with the majority of our lineup, which is perfect. We signed Jimmy Nelson to a 2-year. We talked about this. A 2-year contract worth $20 million. The second year is a team option. Led the National League in starts last season. Put up a 3.23 ERA, 2.9 WAR. Would have been our best pitcher. So we signed Jimmy Nelson. But that was just the beginning. So February rolled around, and we still had about $22 million to spend. And I decided to see if we could wait out some free agents, and wait out some free agents we did. We signed James Paxton to a 3-year contract worth $24 million, $8 million a year, 2 team options tacked onto the end. So it's really a 1-year deal for $8 million. And if he can stay healthy, and that's obviously a big if with him if you look at the past few years for him. His last healthy season was 2019 with the Yankees. He won 15 games, 186 strikeouts, was a 3-win pitcher. So if he can stay healthy, he will be at the top of our rotation. And if he can stay healthy and we don't play well, 3.5 star starting pitcher who doesn't make a lot of money is a good trade chip. And then the other free agent we signed, you may have seen it, was Carlos Correa. I don't know, Carlos Correa, to a similar contract, 3 years, $25.5 million, but the final 2 years are team options. Both of them have about $1 million buyout. So Correa and Willie Castro will split time between shortstop and designated hitter, I think, along with Ramos. So those 3 players will split time at DH. Gives us another proven bat in the lineup, although it's been a couple of years since Correa has been kind of the Correa that everybody remembers. I would say really 2019. 3 of the last 4 years haven't been great for him, but if he can bounce back to something in these first couple seasons, especially where we're not paying him a lot, that would be phenomenal. So we are at those are the rest of the deals we made. It's March 3rd. Nothing has happened since then. We moved some people around, but let's look at some of the major signings. Let's do it this way. Offseason summary. So we've added the most WAR in the majors, so good for us. Let's see. Any names of note here as we scroll through? Francisco Liriano, he's getting up there. So a lot of boring additions for the Red Sox. The White Sox signed Trevor Bauer to a 6-year, $106 million contract. Cubs signed Nolan Arenado and let Javi Baez, Chris Bryant, and Anthony Rizzo all walk. Rizzo's still a free agent. Bryant, oh, look at that. Arenado signed with the Cubs. Bryant signed with St. Louis. Javi Baez with Houston, so they replaced Correa with Baez. Francisco Lindor goes to the Cincinnati Reds. Unexpected big signing for the Big Red Machine. Amir Garrett went to Cleveland, which is fine. Jose Iglesias, I like that signing for Colorado. He's learned how to hit over the last couple years, but that glove will play well in Colorado. We talked about Buxton for us. 7 WAR out of Byron Buxton. Javi Baez, Max Scherzer signed with the Astros. 37-year-old Scherzer signed to a 2-year, $49 million deal. I saw Zach Greinke went home. Zach Greinke returns to where it all started, Kansas City for him. Old Red Sox pitcher Eduardo Rodriguez, I guess not old, he's 28, goes to the Angels. Dodgers signed 13 players in total, nobody of real substance. The Marlins added John Gray. The Brewers, nobody. The Twins added A.J. Pollock. Yankees added not much. Steven Matz was their big signing of the offseason. They lost Kluber. The Mets signed Andrelton Simmons to replace Francisco Lindor, who put up a 9-WAR season. They lost 19 WAR between Lindor, Conforto, VR, Rosenthal, and Stroman. The A's added nobody. The Phillies, nobody of note. Pittsburgh, nobody of note. San Diego, nobody of note. The Giants, nobody. The Mariners, nobody. The Cardinals added Bryant and Rodon. The Rays added nobody of note. Nobody for the Rangers. Kyle Seager to the Blue Jays. Michael Conforto to the Nationals. So the Giants lost 11.5 WAR. Who did they lose? Wow, Solano put up almost 4 WAR. Buster Posey's still a free agent. Do we look at a Buster Posey? Sure. Well, like once through, I can't afford him. We're out of money. All right. So I'm gonna let the bench coach set up our rotation and pitching staff, unless there's anything in here that I completely disagree with. Like I want Casey Mize in the starting rotation instead of Turnbull. I think I'm gonna baby Paxton because I don't want him hurt. So let's get Joey Wentz in there. Wentz, Nelson, Manning. Manning is still hurt, so I can't even really do anything with him. I don't want Paxton pitching a lot during spring training because I don't want him to get hurt. So who do I want to stick in there as the 6th starter? Skubal, I don't know why he's the closer. All right, and then lineups, same thing. Correa, it's got Willie Castro at DH, which is fine because Correa is the better defensive shortstop. Our outfield, Torkelson, Buxton, Adolfo. Cool. It's got Torkelson. Buxton's batting second. Ramos batting. Okay, I'll take it. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna sim here, and we'll see how we do. We got a couple days left till spring training ends. Player development report here on April 1st. We'll take a quick look through Joey Wentz. Got a little stuff got better. Movement dropped. Tariq Skubal's stuff dropped a little bit. Movement improved, which is what I need from him. If his stuff stays around there, but his movement can get up to that 40-ish, 45-ish, that will be good. Oh, not a whole lot going on there. Okay. Corey Kluber signed with the Blue Jays. Baltimore signed Stroman. Rizzo lands with the Giants. All right, so how did spring training? Let's play till the end of spring training. Hopefully nobody gets hurt. I did know that Mike Greenwell had 9 RBIs in an extra inning game, as I am a Red Sox fan. All right, one more game. And one more game. And, of course, an injury on the last day. All right. Okay, guys, hang on just a second. I don't know if you can hear that noise downstairs, but that is the garage door. So it'll be just a second. Okay, we'll continue. If you hear some background noise, I apologize. But all right, so we finished 12-16 in spring training. Let's look and see how some of our players did. Let's just look at OPS. So Aderlin Rodriguez, who I don't know who this guy is or why he's on the 40-man, had the best spring training for us, but he's going to go down anyway. Michael Taylor struggled. Christian Stewart struggled. Stewart's not going to make the team out of spring training. Torkelson only hit 164, but hit 7 home runs, so put up a 771 OPS. Correa had a good spring. Ramos struggled. And then pitching. Actually, let's go back here and reset this so that I don't. Oh, shoot. Can I remember how to do this? No splits. There we go. So, yeah. All right. So we have to send some people down. We have. Sorry, that was a little choppy. I got distracted by the noise below me. So we're at 36. So we got to send 10 people down. So let's look at batters first. So Stewart's going to go down. He might be the only one that gets sent down. Nunez can play first and third. Gordon can play second and short. We have our 5 outfielders. Yeah. All right. So we have to send how many pitchers down? 9? Oof. All right. So Turnbull, Alexander, Wentz, and McKay for sure. So that puts us at 17. Yeah, so we are going to have to send another batter down. Because if we go with 4, if we send 4 players down, that puts us at 27. So we're going to have to send somebody else down. All right. Pitching ratings. Oh, these guys aren't ready, but I guess I can send them down without waiving them. Nice. All right, so we're at 14. One more pitcher has to go down. Lang looks like he could be pretty good. I don't really want to send him down. Zach Pop, no. Foster, no. It's Brian Garcia. All right, so there are our 13 pitchers. So let's clear the pitching staff. Go to a 5-man. So James Paxton is our quote-unquote ace. Casey Mize will be our number 2. Tariq Skubal, Jimmy Nelson, and Zach Lothar. That is our starting rotation. Better than last year, I think. Whether or not they perform better than last year, that remains to be seen. All right, so our closer. We're going to go with Zach Pop because I like the idea of having an extreme ground ball guy as our closer. Foster and Will Vest will be our setup man. Yeah? Yep, Will Vest. Although he's extreme fly. I mean, he is what he is. I can't change it at this point. Jimenez will be middle relief. Lang has to be long relief, emergency starting pitcher, just because his stamina is better than just about anybody else's. Jimmy Lambert will also be long relief / emergency starting pitcher. Then Delaplane, Bautista, and Jimenez will be our middle relief. So that's our pitching staff. I'm pretty happy with it after year one. We've got some homegrown talent in Skubal and Mize, and we get Manning back in probably a month. So we'll see who is not performing, and we'll go from there. So we still have to send somebody down. So we go to the lineup, and it's got to be, it has to be an outfielder because I think we go Mick or Adolfo for now. Yeah. I want to see how Ramos does, because if he performs, that makes Nunez tradable. He's out of option years. Okay. So I got to keep him up, which means Reyes or Taylor. And Taylor, neither of them are going to want to go to... I feel like Nunez is the right move, and then we use Gordon to back up all the infield positions, but with us being limited, I don't want to run shorthanded in the infield, so maybe we just cut Taylor. Yeah. It's unfortunate because he's such a good defensive outfielder. He's better than, if we're just using him as a backup outfielder, he's better than Victor Reyes. He's a better hitter and he's a better fielder. Let's see. Yeah, we can't really get anything of note for either player. If we look at regulars, it's about the same. Yeah. I think we're just going to designate Michael Taylor. It's not what I wanted to do, but I'd rather keep the homegrown Victor Reyes as our backup outfielder and just kind of go from there. So let's set our lineup. We'll make sure the minor leagues are set correctly, and then we will call it an episode. So clear all the lineups. Batting ratings. Who is our leadoff hitter? Well, I guess let's do it like this. So Torkelson will be our number 4. Think Correa is going to be our number 3. Buxton our number 2. That's a lot of righties in a row. I'm not crazy about that. Ramos will bat 5th. Do we bat Paredes leadoff? I think we do. And he's got the best combination of I and avoid Ks on the team. Doesn't have the best eye. That goes to Torkelson. But he does have the best avoid K. So, yeah, I think Paredes is our leadoff hitter. So we need a right fielder. Okay, so our starting right fielder is Adolfo. So Nunez, who's a better first baseman? So Nunez is the better first baseman, which means Ramos is the... Don't know. I got Willie Castro. Forgot about Willie Castro. Willie's going to come in and he'll be the DH. Micker Adolfo will play right. Ali Sanchez is going to be our starting catcher, and our starting second baseman is Nick Gordon. It's not a very good second baseman, but at least he can back up. He can play both, and he'll hit okay. Generate that depth chart. Yeah, I'm okay with Sanchez and Rogers basically splitting time behind the plate. So let's copy this over to here. Remove the designated hitter. Move everybody up 1. Generate depth charts. I'll go to left-handers. Paste the lineup. So what do I want to do here against... So Torkelson, Gordon, Micker Adolfo. Torkelson's my left fielder. And Ramos, he can hit lefties. We'll just move him down the lineup a little bit, I guess. And I don't want... So we'll do this against lefties. We'll play Willie Castro at second. He's a better hitter than much better hitter than Gordon against lefties. And then we will do that. Then we will copy the lineup, paste the lineup, remove the designated hitter, move everybody up 1, and paste the lineup or generate depth chart, and we are set. So let's look at our minor league system and make sure everybody is where we want them. Braylon Bishop, he was our second first-round pick last year. He's going to get some more playing time this season. Jay Allen, he was our third-round pick. They're fine there. They're fine there. Let's just do this first. Let's set this. All right. So I'm okay there. There's nobody there that has to get called up. I don't want to bring either of these guys up yet. In A-ball, Marcelo Meyer, he's fine there. Give him some opportunity in A-ball this year. High A-ball, we don't really have anybody of note. Double-A, Angel DeJesus, Dylan Dingler. Only hit 235, so I'd like him to spend another season at Double-A. Fletcher and Green. Yeah, Riley Green's going to have to come around here. He's not even ranked in the top 100 anymore. Dominic Fletcher. Give him some time. Although he hit pretty well in Double-A last year. We'll let him... let's move him to right field, actually. Parker Meadows, I called him up. He had a good 5.2 WAR in high A ball last year, so he'll. This is an opportunity for him. And then our AAA team is pretty well set. Zach Hess will be the first man up if we need somebody. Cool. So let's sim ahead to opening day. We'll take a look at preseason predictions and minor league system rankings and whatnot, and then we'll call it a very long episode 3. So Toronto went 24-4 during spring training this year. That's a pretty good season. As it generates. So, guys, let me know in the comments below what you thought about my off-season. Do you think I got a little too aggressive considering where we are, or was my mind in the right place? Basically, signed some players to some decent contracts, and either they perform well and we do well, or they don't perform well and we move them. So let me know your thoughts. So they want us to stay respectable on the field. We will do our best. Top 100 prospects. Torkelson is number 2. And that is it for us there. Let's look at the total system. Oh, we have the top system in all of baseball. Nice. Torkelson is 2nd, Myers 12th, Manning's 23rd, Adolfo 84, and Wentz is 98th. Awesome. I wasn't expecting that, but I will take it. Preseason predictions, they have us going 80 and 82, which would be a huge improvement. 223 home runs would be, 5th in the American League. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th in the American League. So a lot of power. Pitching isn't going to be great. But that would be a big improvement for us after losing 103 games or whatever last season. Do we have anybody listed here? Torkelson's expected to hit 41 home runs in his rookie season. I'll take that. Paxton expected to go 14 and 12. That would be a successful season for us, I believe. And so that's gonna do it for episode number 3 here, guys. Episode number 4 will take us from opening day up to I'll probably go up to the draft, and then we'll kind of take it from there. So, guys, I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you pushing me up over that 100 subscriber mark. I think I'm up to about 110 right now. Considering 2 months ago I was at like 20. For me, that's quite an improvement. I'll take it. I'm thrilled. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll talk to everybody soon. Bye-bye.